Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's your boy Michael J, and today, boy do we have some fun stuff to talk about. Huge surprise from Netflix. They decided to drop a teaser for Stranger Things Season 4, and there's quite a few big Easter eggs in it that will give us a little idea of what this season will be about. The only thing we didn't get is a release date, but honestly, I think I figured out when it's going to drop and during what season it'll take place, but I'm going to cover that in a different video. I'll be doing Stranger Things Season 4 videos just like I did for Season 3, so if you're new here, be sure to go down and hit that red subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. I know Season 3 only dropped a few months ago, but they need to get production on Season 4 underway because all the kids are aging so fast and they don't want to have to use digital de-aging effects, so they're going to finish this season as quick as they can. There's been talk of Stranger Things Season 5, but with everything we're going to talk about in this video, I think Season 4 will be the last full season we're going to get, and also we should be getting a little bit something extra at the end of it. Now, as you can see in the trailer, we see the new Season 4 logo flash negative a few times, and then it turns into the upside down. If we look closely, we can see that the 4 becomes darker and darker as the vines grow around it, covering it completely. Now, this is an example of foreshadowing. Get it? Foreshadowing? Ha ha ha, okay fine, I'll stop. On the left, we can see a clock sunk in the tree with a bloody handprint on it from, I don't know, who on earth could be in the upside down? Oh, that's right, Hopper. This clock could possibly be the one from the top of the library's clock tower we see at the end of Season 3. We can hear it ticking a few times, and then as the clock strikes midnight, we can hear 4 very familiar chimes. These are the same 4 chimes that old-timey clocks use like Big Ben and the Westminster, but these chimes are just played much slower. Now, these chimes are said to be a variation from the song I Know That My Redeemer Liveth by Handel Messiah, which sounds like this. Now, the Duffer Brothers never shy away from a good Easter egg, and I know that we're pretty far down the rabbit hole for what could just be a doomsday clock signaling total annihilation in a massive battle between Eleven and the Mind Flayer. If we look up, the clock's chimes from My Redeemer Liveth could be a head nod to Hopper, the Redeemer from Season 3, who sacrificed himself so that everyone else could live, just like the song, and he's still alive. I know it's far-fetched, but I mean, look at the Never-Ending Story song with Susie and Dustin. The movie that song is from is about a young boy going into a fantasy land to save it from the Nothing, which is a darkness that destroys everything it touches. Sound familiar? 11 going into the Upside Down soon to fight the Mind Flayer? See, that's why this clock theory isn't too far-fetched. I'm thinking about doing an entire video breaking down all the Easter eggs for Season 4 that are hidden in Never-Ending Story. Let me know if that's something you guys would want to see, but this basically confirms Hopper is still alive. It's also a reference to the Doomsday Clock, which I mentioned earlier, referring to the ultimate showdown between Elle and the Mind Flayer, which will lead to total annihilation. And also, real quick, just wanted to point out that there seems to be some kind of Morse code hidden in the audio. Listen close. Did you hear it? Unfortunately, I don't know Morse code, so if you or anyone you know can read Morse code, hit me up because I would love to make a video on this. But who knows, it could just be the electricity flickering and I'm looking too far into it, but someone put it there on purpose, so maybe I'm not crazy. We can also see Hopper's cabin in the back left with the porch light on until it flickers out at the very end. Now, this could be Hopper trying to signal someone in the real world. If you remember in the first season when everyone thought Will was dead, but he was actually just trapped in the Upside Down, he used Christmas lights to signal Joyce in the real world. What if Hopper's in his cabin in the Upside Down after he hopped in the portal to escape the blast at the end of Season 3, and since he knows someone will probably go to his cabin after his death, maybe he can get their attention from the Upside Down by flashing his lights. The Welcome to Hawkins sign from the end of Season 3 is down here on the side, getting covered up in vines to show that we're in Hawkins in the Upside Down. We've seen before that the Upside Down is a mirror of the real world, so if Hopper went into the portal at the end of Season 3 in the underground lab, he'll still be somewhere in Hawkins in the Upside Down in Season 3. It also looks like there's a newspaper in the foreground under the new logo. It's definitely too blurry to make out what it reads, but I think there's 2 options of what it could be. My first thought was that it was the newspaper from Season 3 that read, "Hero Chief dies in fire," where they go on to say that Hopper died in the fire of Starcourt Mall, but honestly, it doesn't look like the same format, so my next thought was that it could be a little merchandising Easter egg from the real world. Nike teamed up with Netflix to release a line of Stranger Things themed sneakers, which looked pretty sick, but with the shoes came an actual newspaper from the Hawkins Post. But it doesn't really match the format of this this either, so I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'm sure it'll have some sort of significance to this 4th season. Some people were saying this could be Hopper's letter to Eleven that she read at the end of the last season, but this looks just like the Hawkins post. Plus, unless Hopper had a second copy that he could have dropped when he was headed to his cabin, it's unlikely that this is his note. Last time we saw it, Joyce gave it to Eleven, and she no doubt still has it with her wherever she is now. And the last big detail is when the clock starts to chime, the words "We're not in Hawkins anymore" flash on the screen. This is a little head nod to The Wizard of Oz. When Dorothy first arrives in the land of Oz, she goes,
"I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore."
This is another parallel like the never-ending story. Dorothy went from the grounded world and traveled to this fantasy land just like we're going to be doing in season 4. I've heard a lot of people try to say it means we're taking a field trip to Russia this season to save Hopper, but how on earth would all these kids get tickets to go to Russia? And if Hopper went into the Upside Down, he wouldn't even be in Russia, because we know that the Upside Down is an exact mirror of the real world. Hopper would still be in Hawkins in the Upside Down. The American the guards refer to would be Eleven's father, Dr. Brenner from season 1.
Wait! I can help. I can help you find him.
Find who?
Brenner! I can take you to him.
Papa is gone.
No, he is alive.
Unless either Russians captured Hopper after he went down the ladder and before he could go into the portal, or portals exist in the Upside Down that could transport Hopper to Russia, there's no way Hopper's in Russia. And the other theory is that it could refer to us following the kids to whatever town they moved on to, maybe Chicago or something. But honestly, this teaser literally says we're not in Hawkins anymore and then shows us the Upside Down. I'm pretty sure this is where the majority of the season will take place, and we'll see little bits and pieces of the Russians and Dr. Brenner trying to get their own portal up and running, as well as them doing whatever they're doing with the Demogorgons. My guess is weaponizing them with mind control and turning them into soldiers, which wouldn't be too different from what the Russians were actually doing in the 80s. They were weaponizing dolphins, dogs, and various other sea life by strapping explosives to them and sending them off to go blow up the enemy. They were also extremely interested in parapsychology and trying to use it as a weapon. That's the study of everything dealing with mental phenomena, everything that the rest of the world was calling pseudoscience at the time. Stuff like hypnosis, telepathy, psychokinesis, superhero stuff. But in the real world, they actually had classified programs in the 80s to develop psychic skills and claimed to have soldiers that were able to successfully communicate with dolphins. So if the Russians try to weaponize the Demogorgons by using telepathy to turn them into soldiers, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd actually love to see that. The white Demogorgon we see the Russians have at the end of season 3 just shows that the Russians were able to open a portal of their own in Russia finally with the help of Dr. Brenner that they've captured, or that they shipped a Demogorgon they retrieved from Hawkins back to Russia. I'm leaning towards the theory that they tracked down and captured Eleven's father to help them open a portal of their own, because if you remember, Alexei told Joyce and Hopper that they needed to open the portal in Hawkins because it had already been opened there before, and that's why they were successful in doing so. But maybe months after their operation in Hawkins was shut down, they decided to capture the man that could help them open their own portal back in Russia, and by showing us the white Demogorgon, they showed us they were successful at opening their own portal. If for some reason Hopper was the one in the cell, the Russians would have had to grab him after he went down the ladder before the laser exploded and shipped him back to Russia for some reason. But like I said before, why would they need to keep Hopper alive? They would just kill him. He knows nothing about the portal or the machinery needed to open it. There's no reason they would keep him unless they somehow knew who Eleven was and what she could do and that she was tied to Hopper, and they took him in hopes of her finding him and coming to save him, only for the Russians to capture her and force her to open them a portal. But there's no way they would even know that. No one there has even heard of Elle, let alone know that Hopper's her father figure. It's much more likely that they're keeping Dr. Brenner alive in the cell because he knows how to help them open a portal to the Upside Down. Plus, having the American in the cell be Hopper is almost too easy. I think that the Duffer Brothers want you to think that. They kind of distract you with Hopper not actually being dead, only to throw in a curveball and sweep the rug out from under us, revealing Dr. Brenner is alive and working with the Russians, and Hopper somehow surviving in the Upside Down. There's no food or water down there, so I don't know how he's going to do it without having the mind flayer hooked up to him to keep him alive, but I'm excited to find out. As for Eleven losing her powers at the end of the season, that's just so she's not able to use her powers to look for Hopper and find out that he's still alive. She's got some sort of connection to the mind flayer like Will had.
Some sort of a hive intelligence, and it's connecting all the hosts.
And I think that has to do with her powers going away. She lost them before the portal closed, so I don't think that the portal closing is why she lost them, but whenever she does get them back, she'll probably have accepted Hopper's death by then and won't go immediately looking for him until they find some kind of clue that Hopper may still be out there. She'll get them back, and everyone will eventually go into the Upside Down to have one final battle with the Mind Flayer on its own turf. This won't be easy, and just like the other seasons, sacrifices will be made. I'm sure another somewhat main character will die, and we'll get a scare that Eleven will die, but I don't think she'll have to sacrifice herself in the end to beat the Mind Flayer. She'll probably beat him but lose her powers in doing so, which will be a sacrifice in itself and will be sad, but ultimately she'll embrace it and get to have a normal life like she's always wanted. But I believe season 4 will be the final season of Stranger Things. The kids are growing up quick, and unless they want to use digital effects to de-age them to make them look younger, they don't have much time left to finish the show. After the 4th season, there's rumored to be a theatrical event to wrap up the Stranger Things story. This could either be a full-on movie that will release in theaters, or maybe a 2 to 3 hour final episode. I'm thinking something more along the lines of a movie, and I wouldn't mind this. It'll probably be filmed along with season 4 so that it can release shortly after. You don't want the show to give you so much that you don't want it anymore, but 4 seasons seems too short. I'd rather they end the show with season 4 after a final battle and be just enough so that everyone leaves wanting more, and it's remembered as a good show. If Netflix decides to stretch it out for as long as they can just to milk it for as much money as possible, it could go south real quick. New directors would be brought on, the kids would be young adults soon, or new kids brought on board, and everything would just get repetitive very fast. I think ending it with a movie could be good. Seasons 1 through 3 are basically 8-hour movies anyways. It would be interesting to see them try a full-on 2-hour movie after the last season. Given the dates that the previous teasers dropped in relation to when the seasons came out, we can just about pinpoint when season 4 is going to drop, but we're going to get into that in one of the next videos. They sure like to drop them around big holidays, and they'll be doing the same with this season as well. I'm going to be doing a lot more upcoming videos on Stranger Things season 4. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Let me know what you think is going to happen in season 4, and while you wait for everything, click here for a more detailed breakdown of season 3's ending with Hopper and the Russian's white Demogorgon. Let me know if you know what that Morse code is, but thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.